So The Family Man is a Christmas-themed drama from the year 2000, and it stars Nicolas Cage and Tia Leone. Funny enough, I have had this film on my radar, and I've always known the name of it and seen it here and there, even seen some clips on it when it would play on TV and all that, but never really connected it to a Christmas film. So I only found out that it was a Christmas film, I'd say less than 5 years ago, and I've always wanted to watch it sometime around Christmas, and finally got the chance to. So I streamed it, and I thought it was pretty good. I thought it definitely had a much bigger message that I thought it would have. Like every time I would look into it, every time I would read about it, it seemed very traditional and kind of repetitive, like stories that we've seen already, and it is mostly, I would say, but it definitely does throw some other unique ideas in the mix with it, kind of thing. And Nicolas Cage carrying it does a pretty good job, in my opinion, with Tia Leone. They seem to have enough chemistry to carry the film onwards, and it was pretty neat. I had a good time with it. Basically, it starts off at an airport in 1987 where Nicolas Cage's character and Tia Leone's character, it's Jack and Kate. They're saying goodbye to each other because Jack, played by Nicolas Cage, is flying out to London for like a business venture kind of thing after college. They basically just graduated, they're in love, and Tia Leone doesn't want him to go, but he goes on business. She tries to convince him to stay behind, and he goes anyway. He's gone for a year, and he convinces her that nothing's gonna tear them apart. Even 100 years in London wouldn't tear them apart, and that he'd be back the next year, and everything would be fine. But then it flashes forward to 13 years later, and Nicolas Cage is single and working on Wall Street, and he's this huge, high upper in the industry over there. He works crazy hours. He's selfish. He's egotistical. Your typical, snobby, money hungry power lord in Wall Street kind of thing. And he has this regular girl that he sleeps with, but he's obviously sleeping around with every girl as a single Wall Street guy would be. And he one night goes into this corner store, and Don Cheadle's in this film too. I didn't even know he was in it until I watched it. He's in it. He comes into the store claiming a lottery ticket, and the guy behind the counter calls bullshit and that he penciled out the numbers to cheat, and he won't give him the money. And then Don Cheadle draws a gun. Excuse me. Nicolas Cage's character Jack interferes, saying that he'll buy the lottery ticket from him for $200 because the lottery ticket's like 238 or something, and he'll just give him $200 for the ticket so that he can you know, so that there won't be any trouble, kind of thing. So they walk out of the store, and then Jack tries to sympathize with this guy, this Don Cheadle's character. I forget his name. I don't even know if they mentioned it, but oh yeah, I think his name is Cash or something like that. And he's like, "Oh, we can get you some help. You can change your life around, yada yada." And Cash is like, "Are you serious? Are you seriously trying to save me? This guy's bananas," or something like that. And he's like, he basically tells Nicolas Cage's character that he brought this upon himself, and you can really tell where it's going. It's like, oh, this is going to be some kind of Scrooge story where Nicolas Cage is going to see his past, present, and future. It's not really. It kind of takes the same idea, though, where Nicolas Cage's character Jack gets a glimpse into what his life could have turned into if he didn't fly to London, if he stayed behind with Tia Leone or Kate, and started a life with her. So he wakes up in this house with Kate, and they have two children, and he has, absolutely no recollection of the last 13 years at all. And it's funny because he's basically learning everything as we go along, kind of thing. So like when his in-laws show up, he recognizes them because he recognizes them as his ex-girlfriend's parents from 13 years ago. But he'll run into this guy, and apparently they've been friends forever. Apparently he's on this bowling team. Uh, there's a neighborhood woman that is always around like parties and stuff like that keeps flirting with him and making passes at him, and he's wondering, like, has there been some kind of affair going on here? Like he has absolutely no recollection of anything that's gone on, pretty much. But he starts to obviously, as the story goes on, still have that attraction to this woman that he had 13 years ago, and it hasn't really gone away in any way. His career is obviously way less than his job at Wall Street was. And you know, obviously everything's taken such a toll on him because he's not used to kids whatsoever. He's not used to changing diapers whatsoever. It's funny if for anybody who's seen the film, the daughter, she starts to recognize that the daughter's like 3 or 4, starts to recognize that this guy is not my dad. He looks exactly like him, but she thinks he's an alien, and it's so cute because she's like, "Not my father, are you?" And she's like, promise me you won't kidnap me and plant anything in my brain." And he's like, "No." She's like, "Welcome to Earth." I laughed at that scene. Another scene I liked is when he's at a suit store at the mall and the suit is like $2,400, and he starts going this whole spiel of like how much he does, how much he puts up with, like how he deals with like dog slobber and changing diapers and getting like 6 hours of sleep a day because of kids and work and all that. And he mentions like the suit jacket making him feel better about himself just by having it on, and it's always going back and forth with Tia Leone on this new life for him, but Tia Leone being confused on what, you know, why he's behaving this way all of a sudden, because obviously she has all the memories of him for the last 13 years. And it, you know, there's just that whole theme of the film going on, and it's a really neat take on showing because he's forgot everything, or not forgot, but because he hasn't experienced anything in this situation, how it talks about compromise and love never going away when it's real anyway. And what he figures out is that even in his situation, being separated from this woman for 13 years hasn't really made a difference in how he feels about her, because after just, I don't even know, the span of a month or a few weeks, he's already got it all back, and he doesn't want to lose this glimpse of this life that he could have had, even though obviously in the third act of the film it goes to a place where he's not going to have this situation forever, kind of thing. Now, I really think this film did a great job in keeping me engaged in everything that's going on. It didn't deliver that cheesy plot that it could have outside of the very end of the film, which definitely got pretty cheesy and pretty stereotypical for this kind of low-key romantic drama comedy kind of thing. But it wasn't too bad, and the rest of the film up to there was actually dealt very comically and very smart, I think, in my opinion. And even when there's an element of the film where he goes back to Wall Street to his job because he sees one of his ex-employees at the tire shop that he sells tires at, and that he works at, and he kind of weasels his way in there because he remembers what his past life was back in the day, back when he was working with these guys, who these guys now have no idea who he is because he's in a completely different life. But he knows them, and he's kind of doing this whole like personality game with them because he knows everything about him. He's like, you know, you play golf, you every weekend, you love, there's two things you love in your life, is your horses and your job, and he just knows everything about him, so he gets the job immediately. And I found that pretty funny with the way they handled it. But overall, it was a pretty good film. Great Christmas message, and a good one to start the Christmas reviews that I'm going to be doing all month long. I want to get to as many as I can. I have a pretty big list. Hopefully I will do them all, but we'll see how it goes. So I do recommend The Family Man. I streamed it on Netflix. It's on Netflix right now, at least Netflix Canada, and it's cool. So subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice or if you like my film reviews, and I'll be back for more real soon. Check the other ones out. Till next time, have a great night, and cheers.